My baby called me video call, yeah. So I woke up and then I said hi to my...
Lovely viewers, welcome back. Today's story is one that tugs at the heartstrings, one that has left fans around the world in tears and deep reflection. The once joyful, charismatic actor Joong, known for his radiant smile and charm, has opened up in a rare, raw confession about his life after song Hye Kyo, and it's nothing short of heartbreaking. This revelation has shaken the entire K-drama world, as fans are now seeing a side of him they never imagined. Vulnerable, reflective, and full of quiet pain. In a recent interview that started off softly but quickly turned emotional, Joong spoke about the difficulties of moving forward after love, loss, and change. His tone was calm, but his eyes carried stories that words could barely capture. The host had asked him a simple question about happiness. "Are you happy these days?" And what followed was a silence so heavy it felt like the air itself froze. Then, with a faint smile that couldn't hide the sadness behind it, he said, "I'm learning to be." That one sentence, lovely viewers, broke millions of hearts instantly. Fans who had followed his journey since his marriage and divorce from song Hye Kyo felt every ounce of that emotion. It wasn't a dramatic statement, it wasn't rehearsed. It was real. Joong went on to explain that after everything, he's been trying to rediscover what happiness means outside of fame, outside of success, and most of all, outside of the person he once thought he'd spend forever with. He said softly, "When you share so much of your life with someone, and suddenly that person isn't there anymore, you have to learn how to live again. You wake up and realize that even silence has changed. It sounds different." Those words spread across social media like wildfire. Fans flooded platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram with teary posts, using hashtags like #StayStrongSongJoong and #WeFeJoongki. Some even confessed they cried reading his words, saying it felt like he was speaking directly to anyone who's ever loved and lost. Lovely viewers, what makes this moment so emotional is how transparent Joong has been despite his fame. He didn't try to mask his hurt or turn it into a media performance. He spoke with sincerity, even pausing at moments when his voice cracked slightly. "I don't think you ever stop missing someone who was once your home," he continued. "You just learned to carry it differently." Many fans interpreted that as a direct reference to song Hye Kyo, the woman he once called his soulmate. Their story, as we all remember, was like something straight out of a drama. Two of the biggest stars in Korea falling in love on screen in Descendants of the Sun, then taking that love off screen in a stunning real-life romance. When they got married, fans across the world called it the K-drama dream come true. And when it ended, it felt like the whole world went silent. But even years later, it seems that some love stories leave marks that time can't erase. Joong's confession revealed that while he's moved forward in many ways, there are parts of his heart that still carry echoes of what once was. He said, "There are days I still look at old photos, not to dwell on the past, but to remind myself that I once loved deeply, and that's something to be grateful for." Lovely viewers, can you imagine hearing that from someone like him? It's rare for celebrities to open up this honestly, and that's what made this moment so powerful. Fans who once shipped the couple so passionately said they felt his sincerity and pain through every word. Some commented, "He's still healing," while others wrote, "This isn't bitterness, it's heartbreak disguised as grace." As the interview continued, Joong also talked about how the experience changed him. "I used to think love was about finding someone perfect," he said. "But now I realize it's about finding someone who accepts your imperfections and still chooses to stay. And if they leave, you still wish them peace." That line left fans speechless. The maturity and gentleness in his tone were enough to bring anyone to tears. What truly broke hearts, though, was when he described how quiet his home feels now. "Sometimes I walk through the house and it feels like memories still live here. I can almost hear laughter that isn't there anymore." Many fans said they could picture him sitting in that quiet home, the once lively energy replaced by a bittersweet stillness. It's a feeling anyone who's experienced love and loss can deeply relate to. But in the midst of that sadness, there's also strength in his words. Song Joong-ki shared that he's learning to rebuild his happiness piece by piece. "I've learned to enjoy solitude," he said. "I used to be afraid of it, but now I see it as space for reflection. Sometimes, in the quiet, you find the answers you were running from." Those words resonated deeply with fans, especially those who've gone through heartbreak themselves. It reminded everyone that even pain can be a teacher. Lovely viewers, one of the most touching moments of his confession came when he was asked what he'd say to his younger self, the version of him who was full of love and hope during his time with Song Hye Kyo. He paused for a long moment, then said softly, "I'd tell him, don't regret loving someone. Even if it didn't last forever, it was real while it lasted, and that's enough." Those words alone sent fans into emotional overdrive. The comments online poured in like waves of comfort and sorrow. "He still loves her in his own way," one user wrote. "That's the kind of love that never really dies." Another fan commented, "You can feel he's not angry. He's just quietly broken." Even fellow celebrities reportedly reached out privately to express their support, saying they were touched by his vulnerability. In an industry where image often matters more than emotion, Song Joong-ki's openness felt like a rare act of courage. It showed that no matter how famous someone becomes, pain still finds its way in, and healing takes time for everyone. And perhaps the most unforgettable part, lovely viewers, was when he was asked whether he still believes in love. His eyes softened, and after a brief silence he said, "I do. Maybe not the same way I did before, but I believe love comes in many forms. Sometimes it's a person, sometimes it's a lesson, and sometimes it's just the act of choosing to move forward." Fans said they felt chills hearing that, as if he had found peace with his past and was slowly opening his heart again, even if it's not the same as before. Later, after the interview aired, Song Joong-ki posted a quiet message on his social media, a black and white photo of a sunset, captioned simply, "Learning to heal." That post became one of the most liked in his career, with thousands of comments from fans sending love and support. "You're not alone," one wrote. "We're healing with you," said another. It was a beautiful reminder that even through pain, connection and empathy can unite people in ways words alone can't. Lovely viewers, what makes this story so moving is that it's not about scandal or gossip. It's about humanity. It's about a man who once had everything yet still feels the ache of what was lost. Song Joong-ki's confession reminds us that love doesn't disappear. It transforms. It becomes memory, it becomes reflection, it becomes part of who we are. He confessed that he often replays old moments in his mind. Shared laughter during filming, soft morning talks before work, and even those mundane days when they didn't say much but were simply content being together. Fans couldn't hold back their tears as he revealed that certain songs still remind him of her, especially those that used to play while they cooked or drove together. "Some memories," he said softly, "you don't want to forget, even if they hurt." The way he said it felt like a quiet plea to the universe to give him one more chance, or at least peace with what was lost. Many fans online have been expressing how heartbreaking it is to see him speak so openly about the emotional scars left behind. One fan wrote, "You can feel that he never truly let go. He speaks like someone who's still holding on to love that slipped away." Another added, "You can see it in his eyes. He's trying to be strong, but there's pain behind every smile." The comment sections under his videos have become filled with messages of love and empathy, with fans reminding him that it's okay to heal slowly, that grief doesn't have a fixed timeline. During a recent fan meet, when someone asked him how he copes with difficult days, Song Joong-ki smiled faintly and said, "I try to focus on gratitude now. Even though not everything worked out the way I hoped, I'm grateful I got to love so deeply once." The crowd went silent for a moment before erupting in applause, touched by his sincerity. It was a bittersweet reminder that some love stories, even when they end, continue to shape a person's heart in quiet, beautiful ways. But what truly broke fans' hearts was when he mentioned how the idea of home feels different now. He said, "There are days I still wake up thinking I'm back in those moments, but then I realize life has moved on. You can't live in the past, but sometimes your heart does." His confession painted a picture of a man who, despite his success and fame, still grapples with the same emotional fragility as anyone who's ever loved and lost. Some of his close friends reportedly shared that Song Joong-ki has become more introspective and spends more time writing. He's been journaling about his thoughts, emotions, and the lessons he's learned. A friend revealed that he sometimes writes about what-ifs. What if they had talked more? What if they had chosen differently? What if time had been kinder? It's those quiet reflections that show how much he still carries in his heart, even as he tries to move forward. In one recent behind-the-scenes clip from a drama shoot, he was seen staring out at the rain, lost in thought. The director even joked, "You look like you're in a sad movie right now," to which Song Joong-ki replied with a gentle laugh, "Maybe life is just a longer version of one." That single line struck viewers deeply. It was poetic, melancholic, and beautifully human. Lovely viewers, it's no surprise that fans all over the world are sending him words of encouragement. They've been posting heartfelt comments, reminding him that he deserves love, peace, and happiness again. Some even confessed that seeing his vulnerability made them feel closer to him, as if he wasn't just a superstar but a person with a heart that still aches for something once beautiful. And while Song Joong-ki doesn't often talk about Song Hye Kyo directly anymore, it's evident that her presence still lingers in his stories and his silences. Every subtle glance, every thoughtful pause, it's as though she remains a quiet part of his journey, shaping the man he's becoming. Fans can sense that even though time has passed, a part of his heart still beats in rhythm with memories of her. As the actor continues to rebuild his life, focusing on his craft and new projects, supporters can't help but wonder if his emotional depth on screen now stems from his real-life heartbreak. It's as if his performances have become more soulful, every line delivered with traces of lived pain and love. He's turned his sorrow into art, allowing the world to feel a piece of his truth through his work. Lovely viewers, it's this raw honesty that makes fans love Song Joong-ki even more. He's shown that even in the face of loss, there is grace. Even in heartbreak, there is beauty. His story is one of love, loss, healing, and quiet resilience, and perhaps that's why it resonates so deeply. Because deep down, everyone has that one person whose memory still lives softly in their heart, no matter how much time has passed. Ever since his emotional confessions surfaced, fans from all corners of the globe have been sharing how much his honesty has touched their lives. One fan from Indonesia wrote, "It's rare to see a celebrity speak so openly about pain. When Song Joong-ki talks, you can feel he's lived through it, and that gives me courage." Another from Brazil commented, "His eyes tell a story words can't. Even when he smiles, you can sense the melancholy behind it, and that's why we love him even more." These comments have filled social media with emotional exchanges among fans, many admitting that his story has helped them accept their own past relationships. People began using hashtags like #HealingWithJoongki and #YouAreNotAlone, creating a virtual space of comfort and understanding. Fans began to describe his journey as a collective healing story, where everyone who has ever experienced heartbreak finds a piece of themselves reflected in his silence, his resilience, and his quiet grace. One touching moment that recently caught fans' attention was during a late-night live session Song Joong-ki held with his followers. The atmosphere was calm, and he seemed to be in a reflective mood. As he answered questions about his projects, a fan gently asked, "Oppa, do you still believe in love after all that's happened?" There was a pause, a long, thoughtful silence, before he replied softly, "Love doesn't vanish when someone leaves, just changes its shape. Sometimes it becomes a memory, and sometimes it becomes strength." His voice cracked slightly as he spoke, and that moment left thousands of fans crying behind their screens. What's remarkable, lovely viewers, is that this moment wasn't just about sadness, it was about transformation. You could see that Song Joong-ki wasn't bitter. He had chosen grace. He had turned his pain into wisdom and his heartbreak into art. His fans admired that strength, that quiet way of carrying so much emotion yet never letting it turn into resentment. Those who have followed his journey since his early days in Sungkyunkwan's scandal and Descendants of the Sun can't help but notice how much he has changed. Back then, his laughter was carefree, his demeanor light-hearted. Now, there's a new depth in his gaze, a mixture of reflection and gratitude. It's as if life's storms have given his soul new layers, new colors, and a profound softness that only comes from surviving something you thought might break you. One of the most emotional revelations came when he was asked about what happiness means to him now. He smiled faintly and said, "Happiness used to mean having everything I wanted. Now it means peace of mind, quiet mornings, and being surrounded by people who truly care." That single statement melted fans' hearts because it showed how deeply he had evolved as a person. Fame, luxury, and attention seemed secondary to him now. What he longed for was something pure, something that money or recognition could never buy. And it's not just fans who have noticed his transformation. Industry insiders have also spoken about how his approach to acting has changed. Directors say that he brings an emotional realism to his roles that feels deeply authentic. One of his recent co-stars shared, "During one emotional scene, I could feel his pain even when the camera wasn't rolling. He was so immersed that I almost forgot we were acting." Another actor mentioned that Joong often uses real-life emotions as inspiration, saying, "He told me once, 'You don't have to pretend pain, just remember it.' That line stayed with me." Lovely viewers, behind those poetic words lies a man who has learned to channel his heartbreak into purpose. His performances are now layered with truth, each tear reflecting both the characters he plays and the man he's become. His fans have said that watching him act feels like watching someone pour their soul into every moment, and that's why his works now carry such emotional weight. But even outside of his acting career, Song Joong-ki's quiet gestures continue to move hearts. Fans recently discovered that he has been quietly donating to several charities supporting single parents and children from broken homes. When asked why, he simply said, "Because love doesn't have to end, it can be passed on." That single line reminded fans that even though he experienced loss, he still chooses love, compassion, and kindness. One particularly touching story came from a fan who met him during a charity event. She shared that she was going through her own heartbreak and didn't expect to get emotional when meeting him. But when she thanked him for inspiring her to stay strong, he held her hand gently and said, "You're not alone. Healing takes time, but one day your heart will smile again." That simple, sincere moment went viral because it showed just how human Song Joong-ki is. Someone who feels deeply and genuinely cares for others. Lovely viewers, perhaps that's why people can't help but hold on to hope for him. Even though the chapter with Song Hye Kyo has closed, there's an unspoken wish among fans that someday, he'll find someone who cherishes him with the same gentleness he gives. Some even say that maybe, love might come full circle for him in the future, whether it's a reunion, a new beginning, or simply a peaceful friendship that brings closure. Interestingly, his recent interview hints at a possible reconciliation, not necessarily romantic, but emotional. When asked if he could ever speak to Song Hye Kyo again, he paused and said, "I think forgiveness is a form of love. Sometimes, even if two people don't end up together, wishing them happiness is the purest way to love." His words struck everyone deeply, leaving the studio silent for a few seconds. It was the kind of response that only someone who has truly grown through pain could give. Social media was flooded with reactions. "He still speaks with so much grace when her name is mentioned," one fan commented. Another wrote, "You can tell he still respects her deeply. That's real love, one that transcends ego and pride." People couldn't help but feel emotional, realizing that Song Joong-ki has chosen not to erase the past but to honor it in his own way. Lovely viewers, the emotional connection between him and Song Hye Kyo continues to live quietly in the hearts of fans. Even though their paths have diverged, the world still remembers the magic they created together. The smiles, the chemistry, the laughter that once seemed endless. Fans often say that their love story may have ended, but their legacy as a couple will forever remain one of the most iconic in Korean entertainment history. As time moves forward, Song Joong-ki seems more determined than ever to live fully, to embrace every emotion without hiding behind fame or pretense. He often speaks about self-love, reminding his fans that loving yourself after heartbreak isn't selfish, it's survival. That quote alone has inspired countless people to take better care of their own hearts. Recently, during a quiet moment on a talk show, he shared a thought that left everyone teary-eyed. He said, "Maybe love isn't meant to last forever. Maybe it's meant to teach us something about who we are, what we can give, and what we need to grow." The audience applauded softly, many wiping away tears. His words carried the kind of wisdom that only comes from someone who has faced both the beauty and pain of love head-on.